Alright folks, for this supremely long video, we will cover all the 3D styles or skins from the very beginning to February of 2022, including stuff from Battle Pass Season 7. So if you're watching this in the future, and if there are new skins, well obviously and logically they won't be covered with this vid, but I'll probably do more videos and link attach it to the endplate of this one, putting all of them together as a whole. But let's get started since we have a lot to go through. So here are some details about this one. Take a time out to quickly read through, but the video description will have a list and the links to everything, all the details, all the ratings. I'll put chapters into the video bar below, as well as the rating and how to obtain into the different segments of the tanks. But there are about 134 skins currently added, so if I do about 30 seconds per tank, it will still take over an hour to cover everything. So I'll hasten the repeated skins, like the ones for Halloween and Mjolnir or Mjolnir, whatever you call those things, but there's a lot of skins. So forum link is in the description below, so remember to click it for the list and the ratings. But I'll judge every tank based on camo pattern, additional stuff, combat practicality, realism, even though World of Tanks is not really a simulator or a realism simulator. It's more like based on a historical relevancy, plausibility of historical stuff, and balance of the vehicle. Some of the stuff are over balanced or over encumbered in the front or in the rear. Some of them have like large machine guns that cover up half the screen. So kind of stupid looking, but every rating is personal, so if you don't like it, please leave a comment below and telling me I'm super wrong. But we do not have special animations for shell ejection, unlike War Thunder. So if there's shell ejection, it's automatically 10 out of 10. So we don't have it. We have a few fire effects, which are pretty cool, but the scale is at the bottom of the list. So 0 is utter crap, and 10 is ultra drip, obviously. So 5 is more like acquire niche taste of different fetishes. So you'll see, but let's get started. The Century skin for the Super Conqueror in Battle Pass Season 1. Nice green overall camouflage pattern underneath, camo nets, machine guns, searchlight, fuel drums in the back, crew belongings in the bristle rack, and a spare road wheel for the turret sides. Kind of feel a missed opportunity to put inscriptions or vehicle's name on the space armor for the turret front, but I'll give this vehicle a 8.25 out of 10. Very nice looking too. One of the meta tanks in World of Tanks. Here is the fluffy style for the Object 277 in Battle Pass Season 1, named after the teddy bear sent by one of the crew's daughter, featuring a nice green overall camouflage pattern with large smoke canisters, large machine gun for the back of the turret, extra ammo boxes, the Russian log, fuel drums, a snorkel for the turret, and spare side screens for the hull. But very nice skin. I would rate it a 9 out of 10 just because of the lore alone. So very nice. The Storm style for the TVP T5051, also known as the Mantis. Nice green overall camouflage pattern, machine guns, recoilless rocket launcher, fuel drums, spare ammo boxes for the back or toolboxes, additional equipments, spare road wheels and jacks. It's a very nice looking skin, and I would rate it a 8.5 out of 10. It's a Mantis, intimidating too. The pipeline style for the M48A5 Patent is bringing back Vietnam flashbacks, especially with Kilgore's surfboard for the side, a great movie reference to Apocalypse Now. There's a camouflage net covering the entire vehicle, crew belongings, a flamethrower, razor wire for the back, and obviously the there's no such thing as having too much machine gun. So I will rate this vehicle a 8.5 out of 10. Very great reference and a great looking Vietnam flashback. The Condor T110e5 featuring a green/desert camouflage pattern, as well as controlling a rustic form of UAV in the back with setups such as the engine, extra propellers for this early form of unmanned aerial reconnaissance. So very rustic when you think about it, but additional crew compartments for M16s, ammo bags, fuel tanks. I will rate this vehicle a 7.75 out of 10. It's getting kinda obtuse or obscure, don't you think? But first, UAV, I guess. The Newt skin for the IS-4, featuring a winter/marine color scheme of blue and white, with large machine guns, snorkel for the vehicle, assault raft in the back for infantry, fuel tanks, Russian log. The hockey helmet is based on the lore that one of the crew is an avid hockey fan and misses home greatly, constantly writing home about the hockey scores. But I will rate this vehicle a 8.25 out of 10. Very nice looking skin. And moving on to obscurity with Battle Pass Season 4, starting with the 121 Icebreaker. Large pikes in the front of the vehicle to break through ice, wide tracks, a white coating for camouflage pattern, crew compartments featuring a snowmobile, additional fuel, as well as snowshoes, flame fuel, a ladder, and additional fuel tanks, toolboxes, and a covering for the Dushka that reminds me of a cock way back when. But I will rate this vehicle a 7 out of 10. It's super obscure in a sense, mostly for search and rescue, not for combat, right? Keeping in the same theme of Antarctic exploration, we have the Object 705A Polar Bear, so large harpoons for anchoring, the same wide tracks, snowmobiles in the back, fuel tanks, that's 2 large harpoons actually, and additional equipments for towing cables, as well as generators for pulling the lines. But I will rate this vehicle a 7.25 out of 10. It's a little bit better than the 121, mostly because it's not as obscene with the machine gun covering, mostly. And finishing up the Antarctic exploration theme of Battle Pass Season 4, we have the Welsh Blues T110e3 with a large crane in the back for pulling out stuck vehicles, tools such as cables, drills, extensive braces to help you pull the vehicles from ditches while getting stuck, wide tracks, a lot more cables as well, jacks, fuel tanks, and the mantlet covering reminds me of a Big Daddy from BioShock, so I'm going to rate this vehicle a 7.75 out of 10. It's a little bit better than the Polar Bear, slightly. Battle Pass Season 5 shifts from the snow theme to the desert with the Lancelot Badger. It has a lot of generators as well as ATV in the back, fuel tanks, ammo boxes, toolboxes, braces, and jacks. It's like the snow theme but for the desert, so getting entrenched vehicles out as well as moving about effectively on the battlefield, but lots of crew belongings, tools as well. But I will rate this vehicle a 7.75 out of 10, similar to the T110e3 Welsh Blues. I am not going to pronounce the name, so the CS63 is also featured in the desert theme of Battle Pass Season 5 with large indicator lights for the back of the turret, machine guns, gas mask, cables and tows as well, flags for marking. It's not a bad looking tank, designed specifically for a role, so I will give this vehicle 8.25 out of 10. It's a little bit more comprehensive and compact than the Badger Lancelot. And finishing the desert theme of Battle Pass Season 5, we have the Charles Martell AMX 50B, solely designed for attacking. There are no cranes, no braces, no jacks, no cables, just solely designed for attacking with additional ammo boxes in the back, as well as fuel tanks. But it is a very nice looking skin, so I will rate this vehicle a 8.5 out of 10, mostly because the lack of ARV vehicle equipments, so armored rescue vehicle or recovery vehicle equipments. And moving on to Battle Pass Season 6 with the Gascon AMX M4 1954, but at this point Wargaming stopped doing extensive lore videos about these vehicles, so they were meant to infiltrate a German base with unknown modifications to German vehicles, but it's not as extensive as the Antarctic research or the desert research, so no more 10-minute long lore videos, but this has a nice looking aesthetic of rustic Mad Maxian vibe, but that's a Storm Guerrier 44. Stolen German assault rifle, but large machine guns for the turret, and I will rate this vehicle a 8 out of 10. If you would just balance out the large machine guns in the back or just completely remove it, I think it will score a little bit higher, but not a bad looking tank. The Object 268 also has the metallic camouflage pattern of red and white, with white camouflage nets partially covering the vehicle, a large either 40mm or 50mm autocannon in the back, lots of ammo boxes to support the machine guns and the autocannons, but fuel tanks, and this gun is huge. 3-man operated large cannon in the back. Panzerfaust as well as MG34, but I will rate this vehicle a 8.25 out of 10. It is very intimidating. The only downside is the autocannon in the back is not pointing forwards, but small detail, very small. And finishing Battle Pass Season 6, we have the same aesthetics for the Centurion Action X, with the red and white rustic metallic paint, as well as large machine gun for the back of the turret, fuel tanks, stolen moped-esque of a mobile, large cables, tools, but there are no German stuff that were stolen, like a MP40, a Storm Guerrier, Panzerfaust, Fliegerfaust. Nothing are stolen on this vehicle. Cannot find any stolen German artifacts or so, but I will rate this vehicle a 8 out of 10. And moving on to the upcoming Battle Pass Season 7, unknown if Wargaming is going to continue with the lore, but it features the Leopard 1 with machine guns, smoke canisters, lots of equipment for the back of the turret, a camo net for the engine block, as well as cables, compartments for the crew, toolboxes, spare road wheels, and this is a nice looking skin, but there is a lack of camouflage pattern, so I will rate it a 8 out of 10. If this thing has like a blue/white or blue/black, that would be perfect, but 8 out of 10 is not bad. And moving on to the Crown Wagon for Battle Pass Season 7, so rubble, bricks, as well as braces for the front. There are lots of towing cables, but there is a small Easter egg where the shell that was once lodged in the turret side of the base model for the Crown Wagon got removed and patched up. So a small Easter egg, smoke canisters, remote control machine guns in the back of the turret, making the turret looks a little bit bigger even though it's not. Mortar or smoke canister launchers for the back as well. Extensive decorations for the back of the vehicle's hull as well, so that's good. Cables, markers, it's all very nice. So I will rate this vehicle a 8 out of 10 without the camouflage pattern. So give it a camouflage pattern, I'll rate it higher, but still a very nice looking vehicle. And finally, for Battle Pass Season 7, we have the Freight Train T110e5. We have large smoke canisters, the Pig, the M16, 2 mod deuces, as well as lots of equipments, ammo boxes, crew compartments with crew belongings, razor wire, fuel tanks, cables, all the good stuff. This is a very nice looking skin. The only downside is lack of camouflage pattern, but I would still give it a 8.25. It is a little bit more intimidating than the Crown Wagon or the Leopard 1 in my opinion. And the searchlight took a shell to the side. That is a very well detailed small Easter egg, I guess. And moving on to holiday ops, we have the Ingolschnatzen for the Grill 15. Originally I did not like the paint job, mostly because it's not all red or all yellow, but still a nice cage for the gun shield, as well as camouflage net for the gun barrel. MG42. I will still give this vehicle a 7 out of 10, mostly because of the paint job. Other than that, I would probably give it a 7.75, but eh. And here is the Moringa Skin for the Batchat 25T with I do not know Arabic written in Arabic on the gun barrel, but it's a nice desert paint job, mostly for desert warfare, but there's a cuirass as well as a rapier or a sword of some sort for the back and a helmet for the front. I think it's a reference to Napoleon, I might be wrong, but not a bad looking skin and there are a lot of details. So I will rate this vehicle a 8.25 out of 10. Very nice looking skin. And here is the Hellhound T57 Heavy, reminiscent of Vietnam flashback yet again, with Snoopy going home for the gun shield for the mod deuce. So very nice looking skin, thumper, as well as machine guns, machete for the turret, and a very nice overall green camouflage pattern. But I would rather have more stuff on the back of the vehicle, as well as some inscription for the hull front. But overall, it's a very nice looking skin, and I would rate it a 8.25 out of 10, especially for the Snoopy. And finishing up the first generation of 3D skins, we have the Granite Is-7, additional searchlights, smoke canisters, ammo boxes, large AA for the back of the turret, snorkel, the Russian log, as well as fuel tanks, crew belongings, and it's a very nice green jungle camouflage pattern. So I will rate this vehicle a 8.5 out of 10, mostly because it's the first introduction of a large AA at the back of the turret. We have never seen this before when this vehicle was released, or the skin was released. So 8.5 out of 10 for the hype. And here is the Vipere Noire AMX 13105, kitted out for jungle warfare, but looks very nice for a small vehicle. Obviously you cannot fit a lot of stuff to a small light tank, but I could want a camouflage net for the back of the vehicle. That will probably be asking for too much, but it's still a very nice looking skin. Do not know why there's a giant root or tree branch for the side of the vehicle, but it lacks a overall camouflage pattern for the base of the vehicle, but I'll still give it a 8 out of 10. It's still pretty nice. And here we have a skin that is very similar to Egyptian T54e2 that is captured by the Israelis. So uncharacteristic 50 cal and 30 cal, as well as markings for a Russian tank. So it is the Klarer Object 430U with the machine guns for the turret front, the searchlights, ammo boxes and fuel tanks for the back, designed for desert warfare, so basically a desert paint job. Now, I would like a actual pattern to the camouflage, but then again, the desert is all yellow, so don't really need a camouflage. But I will still rate this vehicle as 8 out of 10. It's still pretty nice looking, even though it's not really Russian, right? It's Israelis. And here is the Klarer Himmel E100. So the Fatman E100 has a very nice looking overall camouflage pattern with camo nets for the space armor, as well as machine guns for the top of the turret, AA for the back of the turret. If you miss, you have the Fliegerfaust, and the AA is not as big as the mouses, so it does not take up the entire screen of your reticle when you're trying to aim the gun, so that's always a plus. But I would like some more stuff for the side of the vehicle as well as the front, but overall it's pretty clean and pretty neat, so I will rate it a 8.25 out of 10. Very nice looking for the E100 Fatman. The Panzer Schiff Jagdpanzer E100. Very nice looking desert camo. A motorcycle for getting fuel when you run out of fuel, but self-defense with the MG42 and P40. It's German, of course, but a crane in the back for reloading ammunition into the fighting compartment. Large searchlights for the mini turret. And overall, the paint job is also a little bit better because there are white stripes to break up the silhouette. Fliegerfaust for aircrafts, as well as Panzerfaust for tanks. Even though you have a large ass cannon, somehow, if you miss, well, you have the Panzerfaust. So overall, I would still rate this vehicle a 8.25 out of 10. Very nice, since it's one of my favorite vehicles in the game. The Sekhmet Object 140, very similar to an Egyptian or Middle Eastern T54-55. So fighting in the desert with AKs, RPGs. I don't think they have as many KPV machine guns as Dushkas, so it has a KPV, not a Dushka though. Small detail, but fuel tanks, water tanks as well. So Arabic license plate, that's fun. So RPG for the turret, as well as spare rockets, ammo boxes, and I will rate this vehicle a 8.5 out of 10. It is a very nice looking skin, very nice, very reminiscent of global conflicts as well. So could have a Dushka though, or two Dushkas. And here is the major ram for the T110e5. Now this vehicle skin is based off of a Centurion Patent tank stationed between West Germany and East Germany. There is an iconic photo showcasing a line of Patent tanks staring down a line of Russian tanks, T54s or 55s, but this vehicle is based off of the Patent design at that time, so it's only meant to be a sentry, not actually meant to be combat in the jungles or in the desert, so there's no camouflage pattern, but the crew is from Hawaii, and it is a very iconic skin, so I will rate it a 8.5 out of 10, just because of the tension back then. Oh my god, Becky, look at those AA guns. They take up half the goddamn screen, practically covering my reticle, so I can't even shoot at stuff without going to the gunner sights. So it is the Land Cruiser Mouse, and it's it's already a tall vehicle, but the AA guns just practically cover half your screen, so you can only see to the sides with peripheral vision. Has fuel tanks for the back, Goliath, as well as flamethrowers, so pretty nice, but the same style as the Engelschnauzen for the Grille 15, so the yellow and red anti-oxidizing paint job. But goddamn, that AA gun is taking up way too much of the screen. So I will give this vehicle a 7.25 out of 10. It's not balanced whatsoever, but at least the AA is pointing forwards, so that's useful, I guess. So huge. The last Dragon WZ-111-5A, so kinda leaning towards the lunar marathons. It's not as big of an eyesore as the WZ-114 or the 122TM, but kinda feels forward heavy, mostly because of the flamethrowers at the front. So yeah, large bristle rack with a snorkel, as well as the Russian log, fuel drums and fuel tanks, and a body at the back. I think that's just tarp or canvas to protect the engine block, but kinda looks like a body. So overall, it's not as big of an eyesore as the Lunar Marathon vehicles, but then again, the paint job does not help you in combat whatsoever. And the flamethrowers are okay, I guess, but I would rate this vehicle a 7.5 out of 10. Little Bart Conqueror gun carriage. So the dozer blade at the front does not provide additional armor like the Revenant Panther, but it doesn't do that much too for this artillery piece. So large branches and camouflage net covering the vehicle. Doesn't do much since you have an outline for your vehicle, but still looks pretty nice. So even though you're playing artillery, and most of the time when they see your camouflage, you're practically close to being dead. So still nice looking overall, but it's not Little Bert for tier 6, it's Little Bart for tier 10. I would rate this skin as 8 out of 10. Still very decent, even though you don't see it most of the time. 40-1 for the 60 TP Lowendansego, however you pronounce it, but it is not a bad looking skin. I mean, camouflage pattern, additional stuff, a chainsaw for cutting down trees, and large AA at the back. Not bad. I mean, got all the glitz and glam, as well as additional generator for the back of the vehicle, fuel tanks, a bucket full of poop or sawdust, likely poop, log for the sides, ammo boxes for the large AA, and the loader machine gun as well, smoke canisters, and a brace for the gun. So I would rate this skin a 8.25 out of 10. Still a very nice looking skin. The only downside is the camouflage pattern is somewhat weird, but it's like rustic, green / copper feeling. So not bad. 8.25 out of 10. The Winter Lotus for the Type 74 or STB-1. So very nice looking camo for fighting during winter in the tundra or in the forest. But machine gun for the commander. Is that an FNFAL? That should be FNFAL. You guys will tell me what this gun is. But additional equipment as well as crew belongings and a spare machine gun for the back of the bristle rack. So overall, I love the tree branches covering up the silhouette of this vehicle, giving you a little bit better camo, but then again, for a World of Tanks, you always have an outline for your vehicle, so there's no actual simulated battles where the outline is removed. If that's the case, then spotting this vehicle would be a nightmare. So even so for the Conqueror gun carriage, but I would rate this vehicle a 8.5 out of 10. It is a very nice looking skin. The Salamander skin for the XM551 Sheridan prototype. So blue overall camo for the US Marine Corps, but kinda lacking stuff because this vehicle was meant to cross shallow waters with elevated exhaust port at the top of the hull, as well as the 2 rotors at the back. But crew rations, fuel tanks, ammo boxes, large bristle rack for the rear of the turret, and 2 mod deuces for the commander with spare gun barrel for the 50 cal. But I will rate this vehicle a 7.5 out of 10. Kind of feels a little bit bare, but unless if this vehicle could go into water and actually cross water, that would be pretty cool. But it doesn't, so it gets drowned. The Italian Fortuna Rinoceronte, so nice looking summer camo, MG42, ammo boxes, large amounts of smoke canisters, and there are so many recoilless launchers, as well as a motor for the top of the turret. So they set up the motor as well as the launchers, but so much ammo. So practically if you miss and it has to wait for the auto reloader to load the shells, you should be using the launchers, but that's not a point of World of Tanks, so you cannot do that. But I will rate this vehicle a 8 out of 10, mostly because this launcher is kind of an overkill and kind of somewhat unbalanced the vehicle, as Danos would say. So not perfectly balanced, but still a pretty nice looking skin. The Saiga St2, so with additional armor for the turret roof, a machine gun for the commander, additional equipment, as well as a launcher for the back of the turret. Kind of a Katusha-esque of rocket barrage sent forwards, but smoke canisters, a mortar crew equipment for the back of the hull, as well as the Russian log, snorkel if needed, and additional bristle racks to the side of the turret, so holding more stuff, gives a more intimidating look to the size of this vehicle. But I will rate this thing a 8.25 out of 10. The only downside is the lack of a camouflage pattern. If it has one, then obviously it will be a higher rating, but still pretty intimidating. Fair Trade Object 268 version number 4 with a bumper at the front, even though that's only cosmetic. Looks pretty nice, but doesn't effectively ram people. So desert camo, smoke canisters and searchlights, a KPV for the commander, launchers at the back of the superstructure, so additional equipments, a AK with a launcher as well as a extended mag for customization of your modern warfares. Yes. So Russian log, cables, additional ammo bags and boxes. I will rate this vehicle a 8.5 out of 10. It is very nice looking, intimidating too, even though the bumper doesn't do well. It's not really there, so only cosmetics, but pretty nice looking. The Hurricane VZ55, obviously Russian inspired, but still very nice looking. Matlet cover for the turret, as well as searchlights, target acquisition, and periscope equipments littered at the front of the turret, splashboard, Russian, as well as side skirts, additional side skirts, smoke canisters, and what is this gun? Can you guys tell me what this submachine gun is? Looks like a submachine gun or pistol caliber, rapid firing automatic, badushka for the loader, additional ammo boxes, and a motor setup for infantry at the back of the turret. So very nice. Russian log, a snorkel, of course. But let's take a look at the motor casing. So yep, dump those, and you have a mortar barrage. But very nice looking camouflage pattern as well. So I will rate this vehicle a 9 out of 10. It is just so reminiscent to me of a T72 from a distance. So if you don't know any better, that kind of looks like a T72 or a T64-esque of a design. So Russian, very Russian. Oh boy, the Thunderchild FV4005 Stage 2. I will automatically rate this vehicle a 10 out of 10, no question asked, if it was blue. It's green though, but if it's blue, if there's a face on the front of the hull, I'll rate it 11 out of 10. Thomas, the Hesh slinging son of a bitch tank engine. There are so many animations went into the engine block, as well as the road wheels. They actually move like a train engine. So the only downside is it's not blue. But then again, you can mod it, obviously. So turn this thing into Thomas, the Freakazoid FV4005 shit barn. It will be such a meme. Ooh, there are kookeries, the sword thingy for the side of the turret. Kookery, as how they will pronounce it. I think it's Indian origin. I may be wrong. Need to watch more of those knife shows, I guess. Oh my gosh. It's such a stupid looking skin, but it's amazing. If only it was blue with a giant stupid face at the front. If only. 9.5 out of 10. 9.5. It's very great. Proserpina Caro 45T for the Italians. You get this skin for Clan Wars, but obviously you need to have the Caro 45T, and the rear of this vehicle looks like it took a blast from a large explosive or a nuke in that case, but the rear of this vehicle has its paint blown off, and there is a refrigerator. So, nuking the fridge? Indiana Jones it, but that movie was terrible. So there is a Luca moped for your Disney fans, but don't know why it has a moped. MG42s for the top of the turret, but additional equipments as well as, what the hell is this? So some sort of ration for the crew, likely spaghetti sauce because I'm racist, biased. But I will rate this vehicle a 7.5 out of 10. Do not know why there's a fridge at the back, as well as having its ass blown off by a nuke or so. Kinda weird. The Graphite Skin for the Object 907. This is for Clan Wars reward, but you get additional smoke canisters, searchlights, machine gun for the loader, toolboxes, the snorkel, and more toolboxes for the back of the turret, the Russian log, chains and cables. But there are actually two versions of this skin. One with the pseudo camo of the face being blown off or attacked by a nuke at the sides, so half the paint is gone, and that is only available on the Russian server. The other servers are getting this basic version, I guess, so without a camo, but still a lot of stuff on it. So I will rate this vehicle a 8 out of 10. It's not bad looking. The only downside is lacking a camo. The Hellraiser M60 Patent for Clan Wars, obviously, but very nice looking, very modern too. So nice covering for the mantlet, as well as additional charges of smoke rounds, and it's not that convoluted with large obscure stuff such as ATVs or mopeds or random garbage. So all are conventional and useful, and I will rate this skin likely 8.75 out of 10. So the M60 Patent has been obscure for so long, it does need a skin or so, but this is one of the best. The only downside is it's for Clan Wars. It's not for regular scrubs like you and me. Oh well. The Nameless skin for the VK7201K for Clan Wars also, but not really a bad looking skin. It's less convoluted than the mouse skin, of course, and the camouflage pattern isn't too obscene or an eyesore if you call it that, but additional equipments as well as crew stuff for the back of the vehicle, it looks pretty decent. Now, the only downside to this thing is it doesn't have an entire red camouflage pattern or entire green slash gray slash white camouflage pattern for the hull, so looks kind of out of place, but it does have a lot of stuff going for it, so I'll rate it about 8 out of 10, but it's only for Clan Wars, so unfortunate. The Guardian of the Crown T95 slash Chieftain Hybrid, so decent enough yellow skin for summer, as well as pseudo gun sleeve for the gun. There is a 30 caliber and a Brin for the top of the turret, additional machine gun ammo boxes, as well as spare road wheels, toolboxes, fuel tanks, and a hammer for the back. But I will rate this skin as 8.25 out of 10. It is only for Clan Wars, but still not a bad looking skin. I mean, it's not convoluted with additional crap, so effective, efficient, not bad. 8.25 out of 10. The Roman skin for the Projecto M40-65. So basically aesthetics of a Roman Centurion, if you will, but the shield, the armor plating, the camouflage nets, Roman, the red cape, as well as the ballista and the helmet, the gladius for the back of the turret, the pots as well. So it will be more fitting for a actual Centurion, right? for the Brits. But then again, at Roman time, the British parts are basically barbarians and savages according to Roman history, so they don't count. So this is obviously for the Italians, not for the actual Centurion. I don't know. But I would rate it a 5 out of 10. It's mostly a festive, celebratory skin, not really a combat skin, so 5 out of 10. The Garmer skin for the Panzer E50 is also in the Rank Battle Mode shop. So it is practically a rock golem or magma golem, but the wheels light up when you drive it, and they are idle animation with the creases or crevices spewing fire and smoke. So if you're a weeb like me, if you watch a lot of isekais or play Warcraft or fantasy garbage, then obviously this is right up your alley. But there are a lot of efforts that went into this skin, but it's obviously completely historically incorrect. There's no such thing. If there were, then hell, we are all living isekais, so that would be great. But I will rate this skin 6.5 out of 10. It's not historically accurate, but it's still pretty goddamn cool. So the only downside is realism. God damn it. The next skin available in the rank mode shop for bonds is the blunt nose Viper for the T100 light tank. So additional smoke canisters, rangefinders, a machine gun for the commander, snorkels. The side skirts have additional plating similar to the T72-esque of a design, but not as much. Log for the back, toolboxes. So obviously a small and flat vehicle for you to put junk on, so therefore not as much space, but then again looks pretty nice. The only downside is the lack of a camouflage pattern, so I will rate this vehicle a 8 out of 10. Not bad, but lacking camo. And here is the Marlboro cigarette for the Concept 1B, as I would like to call it, but it features the same magma effects as the Garmer skin for the Panzer E. The only downside is the ass is not on fire, so only the front. Kinda looks like a cigarette, right? So we're getting this theme of a magma-esque or rock golem-esque of a style for a rank mode bond shop. So we could get a magma skin for the 114 SP2, and that thing is huge, so that's a lot of animations too to be covered, which is going to be funny. But overall, I will rate it the same as a Garmer skin for the Panzer E, so about a 6.5 out of 10. It's not bad, but obviously super historically incorrect. It took a blast to the face, if you will. And here is the Delicate Matter with Object 261. So practically artillery piece with camouflage nets covering the gun, as well as tree branches, a camo pattern for jungle warfare or forest warfare. But the only downside is when I look at this vehicle, they only added the tree branches and the gun covering, and that's practically it. They did add a KPV machine gun for the back of the vehicle, but there are not that much new stuff in a sense. So mostly a gun covering as well as tree branches for the hull. So I would give this thing a 6.5 out of 10. But I should have spent 500 gold for auction with this thing. So didn't get it. Regret. Only should spend like 500 gold or 400 gold for it too. Disappointed. Oh well. And here is the exclusive E50 skin to represent black market. So all black with a crow on the side. Obviously no rules, but not a bad looking skin since we don't get black paint. That's a problem, but additional stuff for the back of the turret. It's very clean and tidy, so not too much junk. But I will rate this skin as 7.25. I could feel there should be more stuff for this vehicle, like additional junk for the front or for the sides, but there's a Tommy gun, so that's nice, and a Fliegerfaust. That should be a Fliegerfaust, but 7.25 out of 10. It's clean, but not really too much on offer. And here is the 10-year anniversary skin for the T30. So lots of Easter eggs, such as dice roll for the covering of the spotlights, plus and minus 25% to gun RNG, camouflage nets, consumables like the first aid kit, fire extinguishers, as well as medical kits and large repair kits for the back. So there is a mudguard inscription showing that it was once a heavy tank at tier 10. Now it's a tank destroyer because reasons. Also the flying suitcase for April Fools. So lots of Easter egg, and I love this vehicle design. So basically if you play World of Tanks for a long time, then everything is in a collection onto this vehicle. So I will rate it a 9 out of 10, mostly because of the Easter eggs, the camouflage patterns, as well as the design. It's not in your face, it's not eyesore, it's very nice looking. So 9 out of 10. Santa Claus, is that you? No, it's the Panzer Claws. It's for the Panzer Kampfwagen Mark 7, so practically a VK7201K, but it is the voting competition between this vehicle and the Vital Spark UDES 15/16. So that one is like a Frankenstein and this one is like a Santa Claus. Alright, so lots of suitcases, presents for kids, but it is a acquired taste, and it does have a string lights for the gun barrel that lights up, so pretty neat. But I would still give it a 3.75 out of 10. It's alright, but it's really a big eyesore. So in the festivities of the holiday season, yes, it's great, but overall it's a big eyesore. 3.75. And competing against the Panzer Claws is the Vital Spark UDES 15/16 during the voting thingy for the Christmas season. So it's more of a Frankenstein with glowing seams for the hull and the turret, but lots of machinery, lots of electrical stuff. Looks like a Frankenstein, if you will, but do not know why this is relevant to the holiday season. It's more Halloween than Christmas for some reason, but it's not like the Crown Wagon, which is only a mod by Wargaming, so that doesn't count, I guess. But I will rate this thing a 6 out of 10. I mean, it's mostly for the glowing effects, right? It's pretty neat, but it's not a holiday skin. It's more of a Halloween skin. 6 out of 10. Well, we talked about the Land Cruiser Mouse, like how it's a battleship and so huge. Well, here is the Kaiju Type 5. So you can only get this skin from the Daily Deals card flipping thingy majig. So this was offered for like 4,000 gold or 3,000 gold, but I got offered once. I thought nobody's playing the Type 5. If you are, then you're getting all gold shell in your face, so not really worth a premium tier 6, right? But then again, there are a lot of details that went into this skin, so it's huge. It's practically a battleship. There are swords for the top of the turret, so you can go banzai chopping people into their face when you cannot pin with high explosive. I hate that nerf to the high explosive, but goddamn, there's so many guns on this thing. I will rate this thing a 7.5 out of 10. It's so big, it covers up your reticle, especially to the sides as well. Even though the mouse is huge, the sides don't have extensions to the machine guns. So this also cover up the sides as well. 7.5 out of 10. It's a meme. The Mordred style for the Badger is actually better than the Battle Pass skin. Looks a lot better too. So camouflage net with the foliage covering the hull and the gun. Large machine gun for the top of the vehicle. Fuel drums, as well as equipments, consumables, generators for the back, or should be a generator, but spare road wheels. And the only way to get this skin is from the summer motorcycle event on the North America server. I do not know about the other servers, but we had to collect tokens from completing missions with motorcycles, if you remember that. But after you get enough tokens, you can actually buy the skin, which that's all I wanted. So it's one of the best skin, and I will rate it a 8.5 out of 10. It's pretty good looking. Also, if you collect enough tokens for that motorcycle event, you can also get this skin for the Revenant Borsig. So lots of covering as well as paint job as well. So it's traditional tank destroyer, covering for the foliage as well as the camo net. So practically hidden for this vehicle, but very nice looking skin as well as the design as well. So I would rate it a 8.25 out of 10. So a little bit missing on the back end as well as the front end, but I still like it. So 8.25 out of 10. Motorcycle event is kind of weird. So don't know if it's a reoccurring thing for summer, but we'll find out. The old SD version of the T50-2. So well-deserved reward for those players who play for a long time and had this vehicle, but sweet prince, rest in peace. You will never be the same as what you once were. Never again. Because of the nerf to light tanks. So this was one of the most fun you could have in World of Tanks. But everybody got more accurate. Everybody got just as fast. So landslide downwards. But yeah, if we can all get SD versions of all the vehicles, that would be hilarious. But then again, it's wargaming, so who knows. I will rate this thing a 5 out of 10. Mostly because it's only a classic, so it's a SD version of the tank, so therefore no effort was put in, but 5 out of 10. And here is the Montu skin for the IS-3. So you can get this skin from the well-deserved token shop, but it is very similar to the second mitt skin for the Object 140. The only downside is not as much stuff is featured on this skin. So no AK-47s, no RPGs, or even fuel tanks, or additional fuel tanks, or even the Russian log for that matter. So not a bad looking skin, but kind of feels bare. So I would rate it a 7.25 out of 10. It's alright, just kind of bare, right? The granddaddy of all the campers, with the logs, the camouflage nets, the foliage, it is the STRV-103B with the Hell skin. So very nice looking skin, lots of covering for your camping needs. So hiding in the bushes and become a ghillie suit practically. So very nice. And the only downside is lacking an actual camouflage pattern for the base paint of the vehicle, but small detail. So lots of vegetation and foliage covering the vehicle, so making it look like practically a bush, if you will. But I will rate this vehicle skin as a 8.25 out of 10 because I love camping. So there are even details with the moss shoved up from the dozer blades at the bottom, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, 8.25 out of 10. If it has an actual camouflage pattern for the base paint job, then obviously that would be like an 8.75 or 8.5, but still pretty good. Alright, let's quickly go through all of Myrni skins for Halloween. So collecting stuff for the soul charges or whatever, the Myrni essence, the purple essence, but you have the panels for teleporting as well as the collector for the back of the turret, but that's practically it. So 4 out of 10. There's going to be a lot of these vehicles, so we'll very quickly go through all of them, but the styles are practically the same. No camo, no machine guns, nothing. Just the collector and the teleporting panels. So that's practically it. And here is the T54 with the style, so teleporter panels and collector for the back, but 4 out of 10 for all of them, practically. So nothing to see here, but we have to hasten through all of these because it takes up a lot of time. And here is the Centurion 7-1 with the Myrni style for the first round or first year of Myrni 2020. So the same style, the same panels, collector for the back of the turret, and still 4 out of 10. So we have to go through all of these very quickly, but whatever style. Here is the M103, same style, yada yada, but I mean, M103 is a bigger tank, so more panels, I guess. Well, not really, but and the final reward style for the first Mjolnir 2020 is the T49. Same style, same teleporter panel thingy, as well as collector, but 4 out of 10 for all of them. So nothing to look here, folks, but still decent for free if you think about it. It's alright. And here are the evil or Revenant versions of the original 5. So you only get to choose one for Mjolnir 2021, but it's like a little bit more detailed. At the downside of the spotlights do not glow like the skins for the Panther or E50 for the second time around, but it's alright. I'll rate it 5 out of 10. It's okay. It's very reminiscent of Silent Hill, which is pretty nice. I'm a big fan, but still, not for a tank. Here's the Revenant T54, so same style as the AMX 1390 as all the other Revenants, but spotlights does not glow enough, so only the Mark 1 version of the Revenants, but still okay enough, I guess, but 5 out of 10. And here is the corrupted version of the 7-1 Centurion, so I do wish Konami would stop shoving its own head up its own ass and actually do a good Silent Hill remake, or Metal Gear, or Castlevania for that matter, but that company's dead. Konami's already down the toilet. It's super long gone. So 5 out of 10 for the Centurion 7-1. And here is the corrupted M103. So looks a little bit more intimidating, but still it's the same style as before. Just large blood paste on the front of the hull as well as the turret. So scary, but nice skin overall. 5 out of 10 still, but that's a lot of blood and gore. Kinda not PG-13 anymore, are we? Not really. And finishing the corruption with the T49 Revenant. So the same style as well as blood smears and oil streak, barbed wires and metal fence, rusty metal fence. You can just get tetanus by watching it or looking at it. So very hazardous to your health, but 5 out of 10. So only if you like Silent Hill or masochism as a style, but it is very hazardous to its own crew trying to get into the vehicle, as well as contaminated blood and blood smears and oil streak. Just hazardous to your health. Now during the Mjolnir event, you can also buy styles for the Panther 2, E50 and E50M with the Revenant style, but there are actually two versions. The first version is the Mark 1 with just the normal barbed wires and bloodstain and oil streak. So the second version has additional light up for the spotlights, and that's practically it. So this will still get a 5 out of 10. But let's take a look at Mark II version with brighter searchlights, making it more intimidating or scary, I guess, for Halloween. And here is the second version of the Revenant Panther 2. So this was available during Mjolnir 2021, a year later than Mjolnir 2020 with the first Revenant skin for this vehicle. So the only difference is the spotlights light up. That's practically it. So I'll give it a 5.5 out of 10. Yeah, that's good enough. 0.5 points for the spotlights. But other than that, it's the same skin, so resold it, I guess. Mostly. Here's the first Revenant of the E50 skin, available in the premium shop in Mjolnir 2020, the first year, but same style. The spotlights do not light up until Mjolnir 2021, but still 5 out of 10 for the same style. Tetanus everywhere. Rusty paint and metal screws everywhere. The barbed wires, and god, it's just dreadful. Second version of the E50 Revenant. So spotlights light up, that's practically it for 2021 Mjolnir Hope. But that's that's all it's worth. So 5.5 out of 10, but it lights up, I guess. And for kids, those are great. It's like the light up shoes. So kids go super hype with those, I guess. And finishing the Revenant set with the E50M for Mjolnir 2020. So barbed wires, tetanus everywhere, blood stains and oil streaks. 5 out of 10 for all of them, but if you like Silent Hill, like I said, masochism. But yeah, it's okay, I guess. Just tetanus everywhere. And finally, the second Revenant for the E50M. So lighting up the spotlights, but these skins cost about 3,000 gold or something, I guess. I don't remember, but 5.5 out of 10. So, I mean, still intimidating to a newbie player who never seen blood and guts and barbed wires and masochism, but you do need a mod to make the spotlights a lot brighter. So I'll put it in the description, but if you have the skin, the spotlights are the key, I guess, or the essence of the Revenant skins. Now for Mjolnir 2020, there's a special offering of a Leopard 1 skin called the Blitznacht. So practically the same as the Revenant, but no blood stain, so that's good. Camouflage net as well as smoke screen, canisters, a collector of its own. So it's like a elite version of a Revenant, I guess. I don't know the lore. Who the hell drives these things? Probably automatic or automated. I don't know, but this is a little bit better than the Revenants, so I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Now for Mjolnir 2021 Hope, you can also get the King Tiger back with the Revenant skin as well, so a little bit better than the actual Revenants because more stuff, I guess, but still, it is grimy, it is gunky, so I'll still give it a 5.5 out of 10. If it's glowing, well, it is glowing, so still 5.5 out of 10. It's alright. I do prefer the original Capture King Tiger skin, but that's not available anymore from Twitch Prime, so sad to say. And featured in the premium shop for Mjolnir 2021 Hope, it is the Manticore with the Pointer skin, but looks pretty decent as a scout for the essence or Mjolnir purple goo, I guess. But doesn't look as grimy as the Revenants. It looks alright, and the spotlights are still there, so I'll give this thing a 7.5 out of 10, mostly because the Manticore does not get enough love. There's no featuring of the Manticore or skins all this time for the Manticore, even though it's at tier 10. And here is the most terrifying Mjolnir skin from Mjolnir 2021 Hope. It is the IS-7 with a bunch of black goo and a matte covering that makes you think of Japanese horror. So the black goo coming out of the toilet or the bathtubs. So goddamn, this thing is terrifying. It has a lot of machinery, dirty as all hell, grimy, disgusting, really intimidating and terrifying, but large radar dish for the top of the turret as well as machine guns, the KPV. But the front of this vehicle is so scary looking, intimidating as all hell, terrifying. Look at that, it's like eyes looking into your soul and taking you to hell. God damn, this skin is scary. So I will rate this thing 8 out of 10, even though it's all grimy as all hell, possibly, obviously, historically inaccurate, but 8 out of 10, just so goddamn terrifying. Now, the return of the Waffenträger is not as popular as Mjolnir, but the styles are still decent enough, so kind of a railgun-esque of a gun barrel design, as well as electrical stuff for the back of the turret, collecting electrical charges, firing the gun, but the hull looks kinda bare, only a green base paint, and that's practically it. So sci-fi-esque, but do like the electrical effects for the gun barrel as well as the turret, so I'll rate this thing 6 out of 10. And here is the same theme with the return of the Waffentrigger for the Object 140. So railgun for the gun barrel, as well as electrical stuff from the back of the turret to the front. They hollowed out the engine deck, making it a little bit more powerful, I guess. But overall, still kind of bare for the color paint or the camo job. And I'll still rate it the same as with the Bat Chat. So 6 out of 10. Not bad. I mean, I do like the electrical effects, so that's good. And finishing the return of the Waffentrigger with the M48 Patent style. So the same effect for the electrical charges from the back of the turret to the gun barrel, as well as a more powerful engine deck, only cosmetic wise, so not really to the engine power of the actual Patent, but the electrical effects looks pretty nice. The only downside is lack of a paint job or camouflage pattern, but I think if you have 50 calibers or 30 calibers on the turret, that would probably mess up with the electrical charges or something. I don't know, but 6 out of 10. And let's do marathon stuff. So we're starting off strong, very strong, with the 122TM special guest. God, this is such a big ass eyesore. I mean, it does have fireworks for the actual rocket mounts, I guess, but they cover up the Dushka with rockets, I guess, bottle rockets, but presents and large rug, animal fur rug, so that's nice. But the year of the ox, I guess, I don't know. Such a big ass eyesore. I mean, it's a little bit better than the WZ-114, mostly because of the pattern for the camo, but still 3.75 out of 10. God. And here is the Tiger Claw for the WZ-114. So very nice tiger head for the muzzle brake, but if you fire the 130mm, it will destroy the head of the tiger. It's blocking the gun barrel, or blocking the exit of the gun barrel. Alright, logic does not matter, but firecracker for the gun barrel, as well as a blue overall paint featuring a tiger for the sides. So would be nicer if it was like black base paint or white or even red, but why blue for some reason? Water tiger? Okay, I guess. Sure. Is it the year of the water tiger? I mean, there are like 5 elements and different element featuring different tigers, obviously, but did not know if it's water tiger year, so kind of a terrible Asian I am. Log at the back, a Chinese copy of the AK, also known as Reke. That's so racist. So, tiger base paint job, but okay, water tiger it is. So, I will rate it a 3.5 out of 10, I guess. I mean, there's so much better design of a water tiger than just blue base paint with some tiger on it, I guess. 3.5 out of 10. Oh no, the T54e2 Renegade. So, dead or alive skin, but it's practically just a skin. So, featuring a cowboy with a 6-shot and nice paintwork, but the same stuff for the ammo boxes, the fuel tanks, all are the same. So, 2 out of 10. It is only a 2D skin. I mean, is it like Red Dead? Is it a reference to the Red Dead Redemption series? Is that John Marston? No, that's not. Arthur Morgan, Dutch Vanderlyn? If it was, I'll eat myself out of the window, because that's awesome, but it's not Red Dead Redemption. T54e2. It's not even close. So 2 out of 10. And the Search and Rescue Aurora Basante CE45. So not really a combat vehicle, but looks pretty nice. It's like a M113 ambulance in a sense. So you're meant to rescue people in the Alps, but not really meant for combat. So still looks nice though, but I will give it a 5 out of 10. It is a theme, of course, but not really meant for combat. Looks pretty nice though. Lots of ladders and smoke canisters, large speakers for saving people, but it would be great if there was like a German Shepherd on the back of this vehicle, but that would be too much. Cannot have a dog in combat, that would be too cruel. Odin's Wolves for the Lancing Sea looks a lot better than the Lunar Marathon for the Chinese vehicles. It's also culturally significant, so nothing is missing, but it's not an eyesore, right? So Viking helmets, axes, the horns and flags, fools or die yourself into the battlefield, but looks very nice. I mean, not a big ass eyesore too. That's the main downside with the water tiger and the white cow. White ox, whatever that thing is, but hey, looks decent enough. So I'll rate this thing a 5 out of 10. It's like with the Aurora, but it's still a lot better than a 3.5 or 3.75 out of 10, right? So 5 out of 10. Well, this is practically Game of Thrones for the Alt Proto AMX 30. So made out of wood and metal, practically a siege machine with axes and a large ballista for dragons, but you have to give it effort and credit for the effort too. Lots of effort went into this skin, but obviously not historically correct since there are no actual combat tanks of the AMX 30 caliber during like the 1400s or something. What the hell are you going to shoot down? A dragon? A balloon? A castle? Castle wall? That's a large ballista, but fantasy stuff. So for all you nerds out there, then obviously it's a decent looking skin, but the axe is embedded into the hull of the vehicle. The hull is made out of wood. Small Easter egg, but I'll rate it a... Oof. I mean, there's a lot of details that went into this vehicle. You have to give it credit for the design, so 5.5 out of 10. It's a little bit better than Odin's Wolves, but still fantasy-esque, right? Now the Skoda T27 has a decent modern skin compared to the AMX 30 All Proto or the Lancing Sea, so a lot more realistic. It looks a little bit better too. So this is probably decent enough without the camouflage pattern, but still it's missing a camo for the actual vehicle hull, and I would like to see additional stuff for the back of the engine block, but it's alright. So I'll give this thing a 7.25 out of 10. I mean, still looks kinda bare, but decent enough. And here is the E75 TS with the Ingolschnatzen camouflage pattern of yellow/red, but camo net covering the mantlet as well as the gun barrel, additional armor for the side of the turret, with spare track link for the back, as well as a machine gun, fuel tanks for the rear, and not that bad looking. I mean, still, tetanus covering the side skirts, so don't touch those, but that one got blown off. That's a makeshift with rebars or something of a heat shell or shape charge shell protection, but I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. That's not bad. Not really. I mean, less of an eyesore than the Grill 15. A little bit less. And here is the Altai Fox for the SU-130 PM. So practically a ghillie suit for the SU-130 PM, but everything is covered from the gun barrel to the gun shield to the hull to the back of the fighting compartment. Everything is covered. So you should be less likely to be spotted, right? But then again, it does not work that way. So only cosmetic, a log at the back, and it seems to be missing a few crew features like personal belongings or machine guns, I guess, but small details. I do like to see a camouflage for the base of the vehicle, but then again, you already have the camo nets, so kind of redundant. So I'll give this vehicle a 7.5 out of 10. It's alright, but just a ghillie suit for the SU-130 PM. The 1998 ZZ-10 style for the Boresk. It is very simple, but effective. So searchlights, machine guns, winter camouflage pattern, as well as crew compartment with the belongings, and smoke canisters in the back. So the basic of the basics, but effective. It's not a bad looking skin too. So how much would I rate this? I will probably give it a 7.75 out of 10. It's alright, above average, but still lacking a few actual stuff on the vehicle. I think I would like to see a few more camo nets, or possibly actual pattern with the white, but small stuff. And here is the Mangut skin, or Mangut skin, for the Object 274A. Not a bad looking skin too. So the only downside is lacking a camo, but overall, large smoke canisters, helmets, toolboxes, additional stuff for the back as well. So the Russian log, additional equipment or consumables, Russian snorkel for the turret. Not a bad looking skin. Still needs a camo. It's like the Graphite Skin for the Object 907. Lacking a skin, but has all the aspects of the 3D junk on the vehicle. So I'll rate it a 8 out of 10. It's not bad. The Revenant Panther skin for the Kampfpanzer E7RH. Nice green looking overall paint job, as well as spare track links for the turret front, smoke grenades, as well as razor wires and toolboxes, ammo boxes, tools for the sides, large fuel drums for the back, spare equipment for the bristle rack, as well as road wheels. Very nice looking. So a lot more effective than the base non-skin version of the Kampfpanzer E7RH, and I'll probably give this thing a 8.25 out of 10, just because of the green base paint job compared to the Mangut or Mangut skin for the Object 274A. So very nice. Now technically this is considered as a 3D style, even though it's a 2D skin with nothing much to show for it. So it is the Sirocco M10 Wolverine for the French. So the RBFM M10 for the French. You should have gotten this skin for free back for a mini marathon way back when, but it's practically a 2D style. So 1 out of 10. It is a 2D style and there's nothing else much to show for it. 1 out of 10. The only 1 out of 10 on the list, I think. The flag skin for the T34E2 is offered free for the mini marathon during the 75th anniversary of Kursk. So complete a mini marathon and you would have gotten this skin for free. It is pretty neat since it's based off of physics and the flag actually moves around based off of wind direction and other stuff, but that's the only good thing about it for the T34E2. That is practically it. So does not go krah when the battle starts, but still a nice looking physics based object. So I will give it a 3 out of 10 just for the flag alone. So the flag carries practically by itself, but otherwise Now moving on to premium shop only skins, we have the American T78 with the Federalist skin. So practically American flag, and it should be a 2D skin, not a 3D categorized style. So America, sure, but I would give this a 1.5 out of 10, mostly because America, and that's practically it. So just a normal T78 with American flag painted at the front. So just could do that with a decal, you'll be set, but yeah. The Ski Patrol UDES 14 alternate number 5 version. So practically another 2D skin, but a little bit better. And you have skis for the back of the turret. Wonderful. Nothing to write home about. Not really. I mean, it's just a blue/white skin with skis in the back. 2.5 out of 10. It's meh. And here are 3 special skins for Russian folklore. So starting with the ST2, but do not know the history of the folklore, so don't know what to tell ya, but it's practically a 2D skin, mostly, with some small artifacts like the shield, the weapons like the club, the spears at the back, the saddle, and the barrel, but don't know what the folklore is about, so cannot tell ya, but it's still mostly a 2D skin as well. So I'm gonna give it a 2.75 out of 10. It's a little bit better than the skis, I guess, on the UDS, but not much. And here is the same Russian folklore style applying to the object 268. So do not know what the actual folklore is, but there's a guy with a sword, so he's cool, I guess. There's a chest with a bunch of chains on it, like Pandora's box. Alright, so a bear skin with maces, lance, a bunch of spears, saddlebag, as well as saddle, quiver, and bow. Alright, medieval weapons, but there's a guy riding a horse with dragon wings or bat wings. That's neat. So do not know the actual Russian folklore, but I'll give this skin a 3 out of 10. A little bit better because of the bear skin for the rug. And the final Russian folklore skin applying to the object 705A. So a blue overall pattern with some dude fighting a serpent or a dragon of sorts, but don't know the actual folklore, cannot tell ya. But still, it's alright. It's still a 2D skin, but there are a few aspects of swords and treasure chest in the back. A barrel likely full of rum or wine of sorts. I have no idea, but it's alright. So 3 out of 10 still, but that's a Hydra. Is that a Hydra? There are multiple heads. Didn't know Hydras existed for Russian folklore. That's new. Well, it is close to Valentine's Day, so here is the Cupid skin for the Luva, currently on sale in the premium shop as well, but it's practically a toga Luva with a decal on the side of the turret, as well as To My Valentine for the gun barrel, so sending 105mm to your special someone. But overall, it's kinda basic, I think. Yeah, it's not really a Cupid skin. I mean, it's more or less like a toga or just a canvas, a white canvas Luva at the front. So I'll give this thing a 4 out of 10. It's not that eyesore of a skin, but still, nothing special about it, right? 4 out of 10. The actual crane skin for the Crown Wagon, so construction coloring as well as hard hats, and the actual crane itself at the back of the turret, but originally the Crown Wagon was meant to designate as a crane vehicle simply to deter the Russians from building up stock of weaponry near Sweden. So they want to fool the Russians in a sense by saying it's only a crane for loading stuff, but actually it's a tank. So small history about the Crown Wagon, but it's practically a Crown Wagon with a crane. And that's pretty much it. It's already green, so no camouflage change. It would have been cool if it was yellow, like an actual construction vehicle, but still green. So I'll give it a 4.5 out of 10. It's whatever. And here is the crossover with Warhammer 40k. So the BDR has a nice looking skin. So blood for the blood god, and all the good stuff, but it's alright. So it's a good skin for those fan base of Warhammer 40k, but it's like a 5.5 out of 10. It's similar to the fashion of the Revenants as well as the Aurora skin for the Basante, so a theme to it, but realistically speaking, kind of weird. Realistically speaking, it's alright. So 5.5 out of 10. Now, even though it's actually the KV2R it is actually a skin for the KV2, so it is another crossover with Warhammer 40k, and they actually put a bolter for the side of the turret, so a little bit more detailed, but I think it's a good skin. It's a little bit better than the BDR, a little bit better, but still fits a theme of Warhammer 40k, so if you're a fan, obviously you pretty much like it, but it's like a 6 out of 10, especially because it's a KV2R, not actually a KV2. So you have to buy the KV2 again, even though you already have it, just for the skin. That sucks. The Crimson Legion for the base KV2, so a little bit better than some of the other ones for the list, like the Crown Wagon, for example, but kind of a Mad Maxian vibe to it. A lot of rust, a lot of machine guns, and it's pretty much Mad Maxian KV2 practically. So I'll take you to the tanker, and there's a motorcycle just in case, but is that a shoddy for the motorcycle too? That's nice. So very dystopian-esque of a skin, and I will rate it a 7.5 out of 10. If it has a camouflage pattern, I think it will be a little bit better, but 3 days ago, I saw a rig that can hold your tanker, but I'm terrible at Australian accents. The Jumanji Skin for the Projectile 46, a skull of a deer or ram at the front, as well as drums for the side of the turret. A tiki mask, is that a tiki mask? That is a tiki mask, as well as binoculars, rifle for hunting elephants. So Jumanji, what year is it? But rest in peace, Robin Williams. You are missed. But fuel tanks in the back, camouflage net covering the vehicle. It's alright looking of a skin, so going to safaris and Jumanji, but I'll give it a 7 out of 10. The Oryx skin for the Object 703 looks pretty battered for a combat vehicle, so the screens took a hit with a bunch of bricks, as well as shells ricocheting off of the front and mud guards, but this is this vehicle saw combat, so not a bad looking skin. The only downside is the Dushka is missing, as well as taking battle damage, and there's no camouflage for the base vehicle, so it's seen better days, but I'll give it a 7.75 out of 10. Also, the muzzle brake took a hit. The muzzle brake took a hit on the right side of the gun, or two guns, but on the right gun. Not a bad looking skin. 7.75. That's a narwhal for the searchlight. That's neat. So this is the Polar Star for the GSOR. A green/white camouflage pattern with camouflage nets covering the front and back. Stowage bin for the sides. There are pots and pans at the back of the bristle rack for the crew. Snowshoes, skis, fuel tanks and fuel drums for winter battle. That's a walrus skull for the 30 caliber. That is cool. That's a walrus skull. That's neat. So I'll rate this skin as 8.25 out of 10, especially for winter camouflage and winter battles. 8.25. And here is the Galahad for FV4005 Stage 2. So Desert Warfare, Nasser's Nightmare. So that is referring to Egyptian President Nasser during the Suez Canal crisis. But a Brit on top of the vehicle, Desert Warfare sandbags, camouflage nets, large searchlights, but not a bad looking tank, but would like some camouflage pattern with the desert camo after all, but additional stuff for the back of the vehicle. It's alright, I think. No comparison to the Thunderchild for this vehicle. That skin is amazing. This one is like a 8 out of 10 would prefer some more camo for the vehicle, but then again, the FE4005 is not known for camo, so you'll spot this vehicle right away, but 8 out of 10. Montana skin for the Panhard EBR 105. So kind of a San Diego Charger scheme with yellow and blue, but pine tree to the sides, as well as bags for the rear, fuel tanks, a rocket launcher of sorts, spare wheel. Not a bad looking skin, I guess, but you're trying to fit a lot of stuff to the EBR, which doesn't have a lot of space, so jamming everything. But I will rate it a 8.25 out of 10. Not a bad looking skin. The Black Buck for the IS-2-2. So it's like the Object 703 skin, but with more details, like the Dushka on top, as well as the chains, the ramming device for the front. So it's battle hardened and encountered enemies as well as the Object 703, but this still retains the crew compartment stuff like the machine guns as well as the anti-material rifle, a stolen German sign for the back, shell casing, crew stuff, crew belongings, and ammo boxes. So looks a lot better than the 703, but I will give it a 8.25 out of 10. Very nice. The only thing lacking is the camouflage pattern for the base of the vehicle, but small detail. Cobra T54 prototype. Not a bad looking skin. It's all plasticky and, you know, not actually metal tank, but it's a skin, of course, so only plastic in cosmetics. But if you like G.I. Joe, then you probably will like this skin. Now, why did they chose the T54 prototype for the candidate? Wouldn't it be better for the IS-2-2 with a double barrel, right? Don't know why, but Cobra! Everything has the mold of the plastic too, with the line and stuff. So it's not a bad looking skin, but it's unrealistic. So 5 out of 10. And Go Joe's with the TS5. So very plasticky looking, especially for the side screens. So nice cage armor for the sides, but the Mod Deuce also looks plasticky as well. So that's a nice touch, but there's no 300mm effective plastic armor for the front of this thing. In real life, that would be ridiculous. So nice looking Joe vehicle, but I was expecting like the Pershing to be the Go Joe tank, right? Would have made more sense, but so I would still give it a 5 out of 10. It's acquired niche of a plasticky feel, but definitely a lot of effort went into this vehicle, so don't underestimate it, but doesn't really feel authentic to the world of tank experience, mostly more like Blitz. So 5 out of 10. And here is another crossover with the boys on the Amazon Prime video thingy. So if you like the show, then you probably would like the skin, but it's still a 2D skin other than the M16s at the back and the M4s. So there are a bunch of Easter eggs for the show. I did not watch it, so I do not know the Easter eggs, but alright. Great. So it's against like superheroes, and there's a P90, M4s, as well as M16s. That's great. Walkie-talkies, a bunch of propane tanks, and the little figures from loot boxes, whatever you call those, for the superheroes that are bad, and the 50 cal. So that's always nice to bear it. But I will rate it a 5 out of 10, mostly because all the crossovers are getting 5 out of 10s. And here's another crossover with the Offspring's TL1 LPC, practically a T95e2, but there are speakers, guitars, skateboards, because these are cool kids or punk-like kids. I don't know. I don't listen to them, I'm sorry, but I listen to old people music. I listen to boomer music like Creedence Clearwater Revival, which are 40 years older than these kids. I'm sorry. So, I'm a boomer, but pretty fly for a white guy. So, I will rate this vehicle the same as with all the other crossovers. 5 out of 10. It's alright. Well, St. Paddy's Day style for the FE4202. Oh my sweet prince, how far you have fallen from tier 10. Dramatically fallen from grace, but green overall because St. Paddy's Day, pot of gold, as well as harmonica. I do not know instruments, so bagpipes, as well as the flag. So I will still give it a 4 out of 10, mostly because of the instruments, the reference to St. Paddy's Day. So there's no beer, that's awkward. Good luck charm, 4 out of 10. It's alright, but still not ready for the battlefield, more for drinking. And here is the A43 Black Prince prototype with the same theme as the Object 703 or the IS-2-2, so suffering battle damage from driving through and fighting German towns as well as German infantry or other tanks, but it has a lot of bricks from crushing through barricades and obstacles, but not a bad looking skin. The only downside is lack of machine guns or camo for the vehicle, but still a decent enough camouflage pattern, I guess, for urban fighting. Well, there's no camouflage pattern, just for urban fighting, so 7.75 out of 10. It's alright, not bad, but this is a rare vehicle. I don't think it got offered like once. Was it offered? It must be a long time ago, but And here is one of the best looking skin for the IS-3. It is the Pike Skin with a desert camo and stowage bin similar to the IS-10 or T10 heavy tank. AK-74U. They switched the Dushka with the KPV machine gun for the loader. Fuel drums for the back as well as the log. That's a high explosive round as well as the high explosive anti-tank round, but nice. Simple, effective, and clean. Ammo boxes for the side of the turret. So I will rate this skin a 8.5 out of 10. It reminds me of a T10 heavy tank. Very close. So very nice looking skin. And here is the last occasionally available skin in the premium shop. It is the Javan Rhino for the AMX 50B. So lacking a camouflage pattern, but has a camouflage net for the turret, so hunting rhinos or elephants, but somewhat lacking compared to the Jumanji Projecto 46. So it doesn't have the camouflage net or the ram skull or the tiki mask, so kind of feels a little bit bare, but does have the banana leaves, so that's a plus. Not much, but alright. So I will rate this vehicle a 7 out of 10. It's not as good as the Jumanji Projecto. A little bit lacking. Now, I already mentioned this on the common test for patch 1.16, but there are a few vehicles that are sharing the same styles as the OG, the first generation of 3D styles for the Grill 15, the Batchat, the IS-7, and the T57 Heavy for Holiday Ops 2019. So they are sharing the same style and they look all the same as well as being nice. So I'll give all of these the same rating as the Holiday Ops skins, but you can find these possibly for actual money later on. So it's fresh from the common test. So I don't know, but eh. Now if you're wondering what will happen to the style if there's a stock turret or stock gun for the tank, well, the style will modify to the stock turret or the stock gun, so there won't be any problem, but still a nice looking style for the basic tier 9s. Not a bad looking Romtel Borsig, but I still like the tree branches and other stuff. It's alright. I already talked about this on the common test, but let's do it for the future as well as for the collection of all the skins. So like I said, with the stock turret and the stock gun, the style will morph to the stock version of the vehicle. So here is the 150 with the Panzer 4 Waffenträger. So not a bad looking skin, but it's a little bit better than the Grill 15. Actually, a lot of stuff is better than the Grill 15. A lot of tanks are better. They even add the style for the normal Scorpion, not the Scorpion G. So this is actually a little bit better than the Scorpion G. A little bit, but similar vehicles, just 2D style. So doesn't count. Well, the T54e1, so like a T57 Heavy, but it's now classified as a heavy tank when it should be medium tank. Oh well, so still a nice looking skin, but I wonder if it will go to the T77 as well. That will be a questionable interest, I guess, but not a bad looking skin too. Kind of looks like a frog from the front. The E5 also shares the style, so this vehicle needs some love. Preferably rebuff the cupola back to the original 270mm effective. So it's been a while, haven't touched mine in like 5+ years or so. So it's been a long time, but we'll see what happens. Possibly not, they won't buff it. The Granite Skin also could be applied to the IS-4. Not a bad looking skin too, but it fits a little bit better on the IS-4, mostly because the turret is not as huge. So the AA gun also doesn't take up a lot of the space, but then again, it's still very prominent on the back of the turret. But it's alright. It's not like a mouse, the Land Cruiser. And the style could also apply to the Object 277, but I still think the fluffy style for Battle Pass Season 1 is better for the Object 277 because of the aerodynamics of having the large machine gun for the AA structure in the back will hamper the speed of this vehicle. But then again, it's a tank, it's a fictional tank, so whatever. But I do like the camouflage pattern for the fluffy style as well. It's not a bad looking skin, but compared to the fluffy, fluffy's better. And finally, applying to the ST2, I think it fits a little bit better. So this kind of looks like a Overlord tank from Command & Conquer. So Overlord is big with a large machine gun for AA at the back. So pretty nice, and we will crush everything with a double barrel gun. So that's always been the hype for me, but Overlord is coming. And here is the Russian server only version of the Graphite Skin for the Object 907. So they added the burnt skin for the Clan Wars reward tank, but looks a little bit better. So it's like the Terminator getting a blast and half the face falls off or something, but it's still like a camo, whereas the original Graphite Skin doesn't have the camo, so a little bit better. So I will rate it a 8.25 out of 10. And another Russian server only skin for the T44-100. So in order to get this skin, you have to subscribe to their movie platform or internet service provider. So you get this skin along with the T44-100 rental. So it's a nice looking skin with RPK or RPD. That's RPD. But it's alright. I mean, communications with satellites as well as for internet and for watching movies or music. So I will rate this skin as a 8 out of 10. It's not bad, just lacks a camouflage pattern. 8 out of 10. And I think this skin is going to be lost forever. So it is the original captured King Tiger skin with a Zimmerette for the paint job, so preventing magnetic mines sticking to the vehicle, but captured by the Americans. It doesn't have the captured MG34 or MG40 or something of a MP40 or Storm Guerrier 44 for the vehicle, so it's alright, but it is captured, so they have to put a star on it to prevent friendly fire. So I will rate it a 7 out of 10 for historical purposes, but I'll probably mod this into the base skin for the captured King Tiger, but so long, old friend. Now folks, I really tried. I tried my best, but this is the only skin that eludes me. It is the Spirit of War for the STRVK. I tried everything. I tried the coding, I tried the skin models, but it's a very complicated skin, so we're going to have to do the review the garbage way of looking at JPEGs. So it does have a lot of effects, and it's very nice looking when the glow hits when you spawn into the battle, as well as firing and other stuff or driving, but oh god, I suck at coding. So cannot tell you how much I tried, but this only style eludes me, and it's one of the best too because of the effects. So I will still give it a 7 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10, mostly because the effects carry it. It's not actually a historical realistic tank, but 7.5 just for the effects alone. If you have that kind of effects for actual tanks, like actual headlights or shell casing ejections, then obviously that's a 10 out of 10, but it's for a crossover with Sabaton, so 7.5 out of 10. And finally, very finally, we have a list of honorable mentions of vehicles that are not exactly 3D styles, but practically 3D styles for existing tanks. So here is the Beijing Opera 113. Already went into extensive detail for the paint job as well as the mask and the instruments, so take a look at that video, but it's still a style similar to the Offsprings in a sense, except it's just super ancient in terms of the instruments and the paint job, but I will rate it a 5 out of 10, similar to the Offspring style. It's just old style for Beijing Opera, so 5 out of 10. And don't forget the Chiling 5A, so very sought after by the community. The gun barrel lights up when it's firing, so the dragon's eyes lights up, or the Chiling's eyes lights up, but nice looking style as well, so iconic. It's not all golden, so this is only a 9 out of 10, so still very good and very sought after by the community. It's one of the rarest skin, quote unquote. It's not exactly a skin, but originally it had more alpha than the base 5A WZ111, but they changed it to the same alpha, the same DPM as well, so it's not as different now, I guess, if that's a term, but 9 out of 10. And who would forget the golden Type 59, the first 3D style, quote unquote. So it's sought after for nearly a decade in World of Tanks. It is just that much of a status symbol. So obviously 10 out of 10, but it's a separate tank. It's not exactly a style. Still, it is all golden, like having a golden AK-47 in a sense, or golden Desert Eagle for Modern Warfare. So a big status symbol of the accomplishments or the money you have, but 10 out of 10. And you know me, I will definitely put this vehicle on the list. It's not exactly a Panzer IV. It has better shell penetration and shell velocity at the cost of turret traverse speed, but it's a Panzer IV from Girls on Panzer, and obviously I will give it a 10 out of 10 because I'm a weeb, so no question asked. 10 out of 10, best tank, best game. Just because I like it so much. obviously spending like 30 bucks for it, no question. Just take my money. Just take it. Well, there you go, folks. We're done. We're finally done. But this is going to be one of my magnum opus, one of my best work. So it took a while to record all the clips, took a while to do the script for the mods. So I was working with broken mods for skin models as well as the scripts. So had to patch that up and had to use a garbage mouse free cam without using the hide garage UI mod because that was broken. So God, that took a while. That took like 6 days of work practically. So it took about a week. So please support the skin modders. They are a dying breed. So yeah, unfortunate, but they do some pretty nice work. Nowadays, Wargaming just released skins, so they're out of a hobby, I guess, or at least stop bugging them for different mods. So they're working their best. They have their lives to go to, as well as other stuff or other interests. So special thanks to the original OGs of skin modders like Avalon, Fastest Classic, The Ombre, Mr. Ed Weird, Milky Man, or also called Miruki. He also quit for about 5 years now, so long time ago. Razor Tech, and etc. So these guys are working their ass off originally, and if they're not around anymore, well, press F. So unfortunate, but I am finally done. So time to render everything and patch everything in Sony Vegas, which will take like another 2 or 3 hours or so. But this is going to be one of the best edited video on my channel. One of the biggest effort put into video as well. So one of my magnum opus, one of my best. But thank you guys for watching. I do not usually ask for this, but please leave a like if you like the video. It took me a long ass while to figure out everything. So please leave a like if you enjoy it. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.